Test, test. Thanks. It's quiet in here, huh? Maybe we should just leave the rest of them out there and just let them schmooze and we'll pray in quiet. No? Maybe I'll go find them.
Lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai lai.
Shabbat Shalom. It is a joy to welcome congregants and friends and guests as we join together to celebrate Shabbat and to welcome Karen Wisnia, representing our Board of Advisors, to our Bima this evening. Let's take a moment to be sure we are among community. Please take a moment to turn around or get up and walk around and find someone new to greet. to kindle our Shabbat lights, we welcome Jordan Marks as we turn in our prayer books to page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
And we turn to page 5 for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemasei v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
This week, I was lucky enough to go to a Phillies game in 200-degree heat. And during the fun game, 7th inning stretch, what do we sing? Take me out to the ball game. And I notice the man in front of me stands and he puts his hand on his heart for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, as though it's the national anthem. And probably just habit, but it did speak, I think, to the power of ritual and to what we do here in sacred community on this Shabbat. How grateful I am to reach another Shabbat with all of you. Let's take a deep breath and release, turning from the rush of the week to the peace and the joy, the centering, the grounding, the connection of ritual. We turn to page 70 and sing together Kabbalat Shabbat, Hine Ma Tov.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
With joy, we welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi, pages 20 and 21.
לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Please rise as we welcome Shabbat.
בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. הדודים לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה.
Turning to page 28, we continue with our call to worship.
Yai lai 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 lai, ya la 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 lai lai lai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Ya la lai lai lai, 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 ya la lai lai lai.
Page 31, together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Arabim. Page 33. Together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 36. Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
Page 39, together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Page 42.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו, שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו, שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. ופרוס עלינו, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו, שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו, שומרנו לחיים.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Page 46 and following. Please rise for the Amidah.
Lay, 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 la, lay, 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 la, lay, 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 la, lay, 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 la, lay, 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevin Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer, Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol, Atah Rab lehoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, melech meimit, umchaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. Page 259. In a moment, we'll be at the middle of the page. As we enter our prayer for Israel, in the wake of the brutality of October 7th, the suffering in Gaza, and the latest targeting of Tel Aviv, I try to harness the hope I need in order to find meaning in the words of prayer. Please, God, bring the hostages home. Bring peace. Bring 2 states for 2 peoples. And right now, bring the hostages home. Together. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. We take these moments for silent prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. יאללה לה 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 עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
In a moment, we'll be on page 253 in the middle of the page for a blessing for healing. In our journey toward healing, there is no such thing as false hope. There can be a lack of acceptance that impedes healing. There can be delusions, but there is no such thing as false hope. If you have a loved one in need of healing, mind, body, or spirit, please add that name to the comments or speak it aloud now.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו, may the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. מי שברך אמותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We turn our thoughts to all that we are grateful for, our simchas, our special occasions, as you consider the past day, the past week, and reflect on those occasions worthy of blessing. Consider calling out now anything that comes to mind among your blessings. Jackie? Earl, happy 82nd birthday to you. Wonderful. Ethel? I can beat that, she says, because it's a competition around here. Yes.
I got a very wonderful early birthday present a couple of days ago when my daughter Marjorie, who many of you know has been ill, got a double thing. The birthday is Tuesday.
Happy birthday, and always a blessing to know that Marge's recovery and healing and treatment is progressing. Betsy.
My grandson, baby Edwin, who was named here a couple of months ago, he turned 1 year old.
Oh, gosh. Happy 1-year birthday. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, Oscar. Beautiful. Thank you for making sure there are babies in the house tonight. Marilyn? Modern medicine and support is a good mix for healing. I agree. Anything we missed? For all those blessings and more, and this blessing of gathering together to celebrate Shabbat, we turn to page 344 for the Shehechianu blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Amen. This week in Torah, the story is told of King Balak of Moab. Fearful of the Israelites, a nation foreign to his own, Balak hires the renowned seer Balaam to curse the people of Israel. Balaam first resists the invitation, but then after a back and forth, more to come on that in a minute, Balaam agrees to the role. After some plot turns, including a talking donkey, ultimately God instructs Balaam to bless the people of Israel rather than to curse them. Indeed, from Balaam's lips, these words of blessing, Ma tovu, how good are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O people of Israel. Delve with me into that earlier scene where King Balak sends his dignitaries to recruit Balaam. As Balaam considers whether to accept the offer, God instructs him, do not go with them, do not curse the Israelites, for they are blessed. So Balaam says to the king's men, return to your own country. God does not permit me to go with you. What does he leave out? Balaam omits the part about God saying that Israel is blessed. And then the men do not ask why. Then, when the representatives return to the king, they report simply, Balaam refused to come with us. What did they leave out? The emissaries omit the reason for Balaam's refusal, that it's an instruction from God, and the king does not ask why. omission, to the point of disinformation, rather than an exchange that expands the understanding of the reason or values. An opportunity to share Balaam's worldview is lost. Following that incomplete information, the plot takes longer to get to the blessing of goodness because Balaam and the king's men do not have the conversation. Today, in a very different time and place, all too often, we do not have the conversation. It is becoming harder to help others understand our reasons or values. The relentless stresses of our world tempt many of us to avoid certain topics or certain people and to hide out in particularistic, safe-feeling spaces. It is not easy to be an American right now, and it is not easy to be a Jew. The isolation, anxiety, the impulse to give up, these are real in our neighborhoods, schools, workplaces. I have felt despair in the wake of the pro-Hamas demonstrations that began immediately after October 7th, even before Israel began to retaliate. I have felt fear in the normalization of anti-Semitism, which is at its heart a conspiracy theory that emboldens other forms of hate. I have felt dread in the news and most recently in the political violence against the former president. One of the privileges I have as a rabbi is a seat at the table of multi-faith coalitions. Together, we learn about different perspectives and find common ground. Yet above that, the most compelling reason to participate is simply to know people of other faiths and for them to know me. Typically, when it feels like the world is falling apart, multi-faith solidarity fuels my hope. In recent months, that has shifted. Now in my coalitions, I often feel lonely, unseen, and tempted to avoid the conversation. This spring, after an anti-Semitic synagogue defacement in the suburbs, neighbors planned a rally to support the congregation. One of my multi-faith organizations invited people to the rally, but then sent a follow-up communication warning people that the rally might include disagreeable messages. It sounded like they were afraid to invite their members to a Zionist setting. But most synagogues are Zionist settings. So where does that leave us? Abandoning Jews when we need solidarity? Unacceptable. It's typically true that when we stand in solidarity with people of different backgrounds, the messages expressed include views we find disagreeable. For years, we have shown up to stand in solidarity with other groups at rallies where we do not agree with everything. That is what we do so that we can show up for each other when our neighbor faces hate. Furious with the organization's qualified invitation to stand in solidarity with Jews, I reached out to their leadership for a conversation. They did not show much interest in my hurt or in repair. Candidly, it did not help that I had not engaged much with them recently, so the relationships were thin when I needed them to be thick. I admit, The experience made me want to give up. The weaker the relationship, the more my hope depletes. The more my hope depletes, the less I feel like talking with those across lines of difference. The less I feel like talking with them, the more I want to hide away in my comfort zones, and then the weaker the relationship, and so on. Until I break the cycle, I surrender to polarization. Until we in our society break the cycle, we surrender to polarization. And we cannot surrender our democracy to polarization. In his latest work, Bowling Alone author Robert Putnam teaches, in order to resist a polarized world, human beings need some settings where we bond, where we connect with those like us. And we need other settings where we bridge, where we connect with those unlike us. Our healthy, expansive lives depend on bonding and bridging, and indeed, our democracy depends on it. In a collaboration of an organization called A More Perfect Union, a bipartisan Jewish partnership for democracy, and Common Ground USA, a global organization that tracks warning signs of the rise of authoritarianism, one of their leaders, Maxine Rich, teaches, democracy is characterized by peace, justice, and belonging, while authoritarianism is characterized by misinformation, distrust that institutions have our best interest at heart, isolation, and a loss of hope. Each element feeds the others. Polarization is not disagreement. It's the mistrust of those who disagree. We mistrust at a distance because we don't know each other. That isolation allows for dehumanization, vilification. Polarization provokers rely on us not having the conversation, on us giving up on understanding each other. More mistrust, isolation, dehumanization, despair. Less understanding, connection, belonging, hope. The cycle feeds the impulse to surrender to polarization. We need Jewish wisdom and Jewish community to hold us up so that we resist that impulse to give up. The Jewish Council for Public Affairs Director is, I believe, one of the clearest Jewish voices of our time. Amy Spytelnik spends her life combating Jewish isolation. Spytelnik teaches that extremists thrive on pitting our communities against one another in order to isolate us and to spread despair and disinformation. Extremists want us to be unsure who to believe, so we become more susceptible to polarization and hate. We can counter that by having the tough conversations and building relationships aimed at countering isolation and division and advancing trust and empathy. The only path forward is the one that recognizes our rights and our safety are intertwined, and that builds the bridges necessary to protect all of us. Amy Spytelnik just will not let us off the hook. She won't let us give up or retreat to our comfort zones. We must enter coalition spaces. And when we do, we cannot check our Judaism at the door. We cannot check our Zionism, or our humanity, or our care for Palestinians and others at the door. We need to be present with others and bring our whole selves. This is not coming easily to me these days, but I know I can't give up. Even in those challenging multi-faith spaces, I know I need to stay at the table. In coalition building, in our neighborhoods, schools, workplaces, we need the bridging relationships that compel us to understand others and help others to understand us. In this sacred community, we need the bonding relationships that comfort, nourish, and renew our souls, not only in the wake of October 7th, not only in election season, but for a lifetime as a part of what we will bequeath to generations to come. May we recommit to deepening our understanding that we may walk a path that leads to blessing, even when we are hindered by obstacles, by hate, and by mistakes along the way. Eventually, may the words of blessing fall from our lips. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How good is our tent. I am grateful for it. Shabbat Shalom. We return to our prayer books, turning to page 282 and then 287 for Aleinu. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This week, our congregation observes yahrzeit for the following people on whose shoulders we stand: Henry Hirsch Allman, Solomon Allmeyer, Frank Amendeo, Carl A. Baird, Aileen M. Baird, Abraham L. Ball, Arthur J. Barkhouse Jr., Edgar Bernstein, Bertram H. Blum, Fanny Brooks, May J. Cohen, Samuel Joe Cohen, Maurice G. Cohn, Judith Deitch, Joseph S. Dreyfus, Joseph Edelman, Martin Einsbruck, Lena Arnold Fetter, Herman W. Fernberger, Blaine Fogg, Isidore Fox, Benjamin Gilbert, Betty Goldblum, Lillian Land Goldstein, Teresa Gatto, Saul Green, John Gutman, Philip Harrison, Eva Heidelberger, Rita Jean Henschel, Melvin Bernard Heron, Hannah Hess, Betty Fauser Horner, Abraham Kaplan, Julia Katz, Walter Katz, Harold Keston, Mary Seidenbach-Koch, Clara Kostianowski, Lillian B. Kurtz, Ruth Kurz, Florence R. Layden, Ellen M. Lakin, Adolf Lieberman, Belle Lederer, Frida Fried Lee, Barbara S. Levy, Maxwell S. Levy, Mary Soloff Lindy, Virginia H. Lauchheim, Alan Markovitz, Joseph McLaughlin, Andrew Mayer, Tova Michaels, Diana Monroe, Samuel Nemiroff, Charlene Newberg, Emily Newman, Barry Oster, Clarissa H. Popkin, Howard Rathmill, Ruth Rawls, Rosa F. Rosenblum, Nancy Rowan, Adolfo Scollett-Leader, Selena R. Seidenbach, Nathan Spear, Walter F. Spiegel, Molly Stein, Benjamin F. Teller, Adolf Wasserman, Esther Wasserman, Flora B. Wasserman, Jacob Weiner, Murray Weiss, Dr. Bernard Whitlin, Levi Loeb-Wolf, Samuel Zamachnik. We remember the names of those who have been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days, for whom we observe Shloshim. See Sarah Bader, Bonita Cohen, William Schwartzman. And if you are observing Yartzeit or Shloshim for a loved one whose name was not called, please feel free to add it to the comments or speak it aloud now. Turning to page 294, we honor their memories as we rise for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divarach Yerutei v'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, B'agala uv'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, Shmei d'kudashah b'rechu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hui aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring comfort to the bereaved and peace to each of you. And together we say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru Amen.
I'm so pleased to welcome Karen Wisnia, representing our Board of Advisors.
Shabbat Shalom. On July 23rd, join a postcard writing party for the Every Voice, Every Vote campaign in partnership with RAC-PA, the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism. The campaign fights for a healthy democracy against marginalization and voter suppression, principles that are clearly commanded in the Torah. See page 6 and 7 of your program for registration information and for other upcoming events. If you are new to Rodef Shalom, a very special welcome to you. Please meet our congregant, Jordan Marks, who is waving at the back of the sanctuary, to learn more about the congregation following services. Shabbat Shalom.
This week's Haftarah reading from the prophets comes from the prophet Micah and concludes with these words: God has told you what is good and what God requires of you, only to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka
May the light of God's Spirit shine upon us and through us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's presence be with us and bring us peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.